On this episode, Thian Lung stops by. Hello everyone, this is Jiale and you're watching the Advisor of Advisors show. Hey everyone, this is Jiale and you're watching episode 012 of the Advisor of Advisors show. And today we have Thian Lung with us. This big, tall, handsome guy. I first met him at Manila, the Philippines, when we were both attending that event.
Yes, right.
Do you still remember that event, bro?
I do remember that event.
That is the Third Asia Trusted Life Agents and
That's a
Advisors.
Advisor Award. Yeah, in Manila.
Very, very mouthful.
Yes.
Yeah. And that was the first time I met you.
Correct.
All right,
You and your crazy red jacket.
Yes, me and my...
Red suit, not jacket. Whole ensemble red. Okay.
Yep, I wore the red suit.
Yes.
Yep, for that night, and
I said to myself, I had to go and talk to this person. Let's find out who this crazy person is wearing red suit to award night.
But I approached you first because I saw this towering figure, right? Big handsome guy. You know, because you're quite tall and big, right? Like, and so from afar I could see you, and I hear other people talking about you.
Right.
And your name catches my attention.
Right.
Right, Thian Lung.
Right.
It's a very powerful name. Right, and you were participating was it Insurance Agent of the Year?
Yes, Insurance Agent of the Year, one of the 5 finalists.
Finalists,
yes.
Yeah. And so I knew I had to go and speak to you.
Oh.
Okay, yeah. And so I did.
Well, I'm glad you did.
After the event, because I think you were about to leave the event already.
Right.
Yeah, with your colleagues. I think you guys were going off for a drink.
Right.
And then I said, hey, Chotomate, I want to speak with you. Like, can I
Right.
have a few minutes of the time? And I said, can I, learn from you? Can I learn from you?
Yeah, you actually did say that because I'm actually glad you did say that because I'm usually not the kind of guy that would go around and say hi to people. You know, like...
Seriously?
Yeah, I mean, not that I'm snobbish or anything. I'm just kind of like I've always find it very awkward.
Okay.
Yeah, to go and say hi to people that I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't. So that's why it was really interesting that you came out inside and talked to me, and I'm truly glad that you did. Otherwise I would not have known who you are.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, something does just push me to go and talk to you that night. Yeah.
Very good.
And then so we exchanged contacts, and I asked Thian Lung if I could visit him at his hometown Kuching and to
And I
to
said
learn from
yes.
him. And he said yes.
He actually came.
You wait. At that point in time, you didn't think I was going to come?
I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, but you never know. People say that they'll visit you. Yeah, but then you put in action, and you brought your wife.
Yeah. I brought you along.
I know. Yeah.
Right. But the amazing part, I'll tell you the amazing part is that Thian Lung said yes. So he welcomed me to his hometown, and he picked us up at the airport. It was early in the morning.
Right.
So came the E-Class Mercedes in blue, right?
No, gray, dark gray.
Dark grey.
Yes.
And then he brought us around. He brought us for breakfast, some noodles, some noodles place.
Yeah.
And I remember spending about 2 to 3 hours there. While eating noodles, I was bombarding you with a lot of questions.
Yes, with your little book.
Yes.
You
you
still
still remember that book?
Yes, no, because it was really weird. Like, imagine
What was
having
it
having a conversation with someone, right? It's just like a regular conversation, and the guy took out a book and started doing notes. I was like, wow, like this is amazing. Like this guy is gonna write down what I'm saying. It was like a serious conversation. No, the conversation is not serious. It's very, friendly.
Yep.
But when he took out that book, I was like, whoa, this guy meant business. Like, yeah, I was so shocked.
Hey, I flew there, of course.
I know,
had to
true.
take some notes,
I know.
But I thought it would end there and then. But Thian Lung is a very hospitable guy, and so what happened was that in the evening you volunteered to take us out for dinner.
Yes, of course.
Zicha.
Yes.
I remember we had the largest sugarcane juice in our life.
Yes,
right?
I remember. You're right.
Its sugarcane glass was
Right.
as big as Joanne's face.
Yeah.
Right.
Right above the parking lot. Right.
Right
Yes.
above the parking lot, and after that, you still took us for drinks.
Right.
With your team.
Yes, my colleague came and joined us. Yes,
Yep.
absolutely.
And then it didn't stop there because the next day morning, you took us out for noodles again
Right. Yep.
before we left
Yes.
Kuching, right? Yeah.
Complete.
So
It's a complete experience.
it was.
Yeah.
I totally did not imagine to go through, for Thian Lung to spend so much time with us because, I mean, number one, if you're at a certain level, you're busy lah. Yeah, and I mean, you are also a father of 2 kids, so I didn't expect that you would spend so much time with us. So I was very touched, to be very frank, and I still remember the whole experience till today. And I always
Right.
tell Joanne and I really appreciate your time so much. When you come to Singapore, I really want to buy you a meal, bring you around. And the best of all is that we paid nothing for the entire 3 meals. So
Yeah.
Thian Lung paid for everything. So very, very nice. We enjoyed the drinks with your team, with the
Right.
live band.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it was so loud, but we love it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I mean, you came all the way to Kuching to see me, so the least I can do. What? So you think I'm just gonna meet up with you for one meal and then?
I thought just one meal, 3 hours, and then after
way.
that, yeah.
No. So that's one thing about
So-
Kuching people. We don't just do one meal, okay? So I mean, obviously I like him enough to have multiple meals because that's what you do in Kuching. Yeah, you have guests. You don't just leave them and then walk away. So yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So and Thian Lung agreed again to come and join us for this interview show. So here we are. Now you know Thian Lung, right? And let me see. He has been in the industry for 17 years now. So since 2006, right, bro?
Correct.
Okay.
October 1st, 2006.
Okay. In this interview, we're not going to mention companies, right? So we'll
Nope.
just say you've been in business since 2006.
Right.
October, you mentioned.
October 1st, that's when I get coded.
Understand. And ever since you have clocked 8 MDRTs, 4 COTs, and 2 TOTs, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And he is also the winner for Inspirational Leader of the Year award at the 7th Asia Trusted Life Agents and Advisors Award
Right.
in 2022.
Right.
And you have been invited to speak 55 times. So he has been invited at 55 different engagements.
Right.
I counted for him, he didn't count.
I know.
So he sent me a long list of different engagements and I counted for him. Average 3 per year across 17 years. Yeah, that's not an easy feat. And around the world, I meant Taiwan, Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, the Philippines, Korea, Indonesia, Hong Kong, China, Singapore, Australia, and the US.
Right.
And at this point of filming, it is 29th March 2023. It is about 4 p.m. and Thian Lung is catching a flight later at 7:30 p.m. all the way to San Francisco because he is also helping out at the June annual MDRT Global meeting this year. Is that correct?
MDRT annual meeting.
If you are wondering why Thian Lung mentions so much about MDRT volunteering, because he is one of the leaders
Right.
to manage the MDRT member volunteers.
Right.
And there are about 50 leaders, and out of 50 leaders, there are about 3 chairs, right? You mentioned?
Yeah, 3 committee chairs.
3 committee chairs, and Thian Lung is one of the 3 committee chairs of the MDRT annual meeting,
Yes.
managing a total of 1,000 volunteers for the 10,000 participants.
Yes.
And you're managing the main platform event you mentioned.
So there's 3 different teams: member logistic, and member enhancement, and member. What's the other one? This is really bad. Enhancement services. Member services. Yes. So member enhancement, which is under me, we handle main platform, and another task force called meeting involvement. Yes.
So in other words, his volunteer hierarchy in MDRT. It's quite high. It's quite high.
Yes.
Yeah, so which is why I have to bring him here because I've not seen or I don't have advisory friends that are so passionate about volunteering and at MDRT events. So I want to bring you in. Plus, of course, you have a long track record. Plus, I know you personally. So
Thank you.
Yeah, I really want to ask you what's your backstory? If you can spend just about 5-10 minutes into your backstory, how come you joined this industry?
Oh, okay. So I joined the industry back in 2006 because I couldn't find a job in Kuching. Oddly enough, like my story feels like a story that you have heard from 20 years ago. Well, it is 20 years ago almost. Yeah, okay, maybe 30 years ago. Like early on, you will hear people say they joined the insurance because they couldn't find a job and that sort of thing. So oddly enough, I was one of that people. So I came back from the States back in 2001, and the first 2 jobs, I got it quite easily without any problem. So my mistake was that I quit my second job before I find a new job. And so that's what normal people do, right? Don't quit until you find a new job. So that was my mistake. And for like a good 6 to 8 months, I couldn't find a job. And back in the day, there's no like online job posting.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Correct.
all newspaper and looking at ads. So we're talking about 2006 for people that are watching. So every day I would send out resume,
Yep.
like letter, resume, every day at least one for a long stretch of time. But I couldn't, like no one replied, like no one asked me to come in for an interview. It's the weirdest thing. And so I finally got one. It was with a private college because I have always been with the education background. They're looking for a marketing manager. So I went through the first interview, went to the second interview. I was quite confident, like, finally I'm going to get this job, right? I thought I did quite well. And after the second interview, I got a call. They were saying that they're going to promote someone within. They're restructuring. So that was really, really sad because after like so many months of not getting any job offer.
Yep.
So one day I decided to have breakfast with a good friend of mine who was in insurance. And so I was just, complaining. Well, not so much complaining. I was just telling her like how tough it is to find a job and that sort of thing. And she herself is an MDRT member, said 2 years MDRT member at that time. And then she was just like, "You want to try insurance?" Because all this while that when we are friends, She never mentioned. I know she does insurance.
Okay.
I know the husband is her manager.
Okay.
The husband is a good friend of mine as well.
Okay.
But all this while, never talk about insurance.
Yep.
She will never bring it up. But it's just that day, I still remember it's a Wednesday morning breakfast. She was like, "You want to try?" And then I was just like, why not? Because I know insurance advisor make good income, but my mom actually wanted me to join insurance when I first came back from the States.
Your mom actually wanted you to
Yeah,
join
my mom loves insurance. Yeah, my mom loves to buy endowment plan. So back then, when she was still working, running her business, if you're an insurance advisor, if you dare to walk into a shop and ask her to buy an endowment, she will buy.
Wow.
Most likely, yeah. So she bought endowment from strangers before. Yeah, so anyhow, so my mom has always encouraged me to do, but I didn't want to because I think at that time I want to do something else.
Yep.
But anyway, so my friend asked me and I was just like, okay, sure, why not? So that was a Wednesday. Friday, waiting for an interview with my unit manager. So now it's my district manager. So back then was my unit manager. Friday, a good 2 hours interview, and the following Monday I start full time, and that's it.
And that's it.
That's it, just like that.
Never look back.
Never look back. Because for me it's easy, I said to myself, I have nothing to do anyway. Might as well try.
Okay.
So I have no idea whether I'll be good or not. Then of course after I joined, then I realized, I'm actually quite good at this. Yeah, I think that's when I realized. So my perception before is actually wrong on how an insurance advisor agent is supposed to function. What does our job entail?
Okay.
So before, in my mind, it's about selling product. But after I joined, I realized it's about relationship. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's something I can be good at.
I understand.
That's something I know how to do. Selling, I still find it very awkward sometimes.
Yep.
But relationship building, that one is easy, and that one I can be good at. Then I realized insurance is about that. So different advisors play different kind of games. So have different method and different technique. So mine is about building relationship with my client.
Yep.
Only then I will talk about insurance.
Understand.
Yeah. So that's it. That's how I joined.
At what point of your career that you realize that it's not about just product selling, it's about relationship building actually?
No, actually a few months into it.
Oh, a few months into it.
Yeah,
okay.
because like when you first join, right? I think you went through the same thing. When you first join, they will teach you how to do prospecting. So the first group of people that we usually prospect are people that we know, our close friends, close family members.
Yep.
Basically, people that will say yes
Yep.
to listening to a proposal.
Yep.
No need to spend time building relationship because the relationship is there.
Yes.
Right. So those are our sort of. If you look at your social circle,
Yep.
those are the circle that's closer to you.
So that's what you did.
So that's what I did. Then
Okay.
I realized, okay, because then I realized those are the first group of people that I approach are my really good friends, and most of them actually sign up from me.
Okay.
And big and small, Okay.
Okay.
But then I realized, okay, so it's about that. So then I said to myself, if I'm able to keep bringing people from the outer ring into my closest ring,
Yep.
so then I realized I can do this business. Because I realized that, first of all, I realized that insurance is very important.
Okay.
And then I realized once people know you,
Yep.
they are more willing to listen to you. They
Yep.
might not buy from you,
Yep.
but they are willing to listen. So listening is half of the battle. Some people won't even want to listen to us, right?
Yep.
So if they're willing to listen to you, like battle one,
Yep.
that is about how you convince them, how you find their needs, da-di-da-da-da-da. Yeah, so then I realized, okay, so this is something that I can actually do. Yeah.
So your game is to bring as many people as possible to your inner circle.
Yes,
Is that correct?
so last week I was just talking, 2 weeks ago, I was just doing a short sharing with my MDRT first timer event in KL 2 weeks ago. And then I realized, after the event, a lot of people were, came up to me because they're all first timer. Okay, it's like, how do you continuously have like lots of customers? How do you continuously expand your business? That sort of question. Then I realized a lot of people make the mistake where, so when they use up the people that are closest to them,
Yep.
the first ring. Let's say, like your life is a bunch of ring roads,
Yep.
You've used up your first ring.
Okay.
So then they will go out to the second ring.
Yep.
Then they'll go out to the third ring.
Yep.
So this is when you hear advisors, after a year or a year and a half, 2 years, they're having problem closing deals.
Yep.
Because they are meeting people that are further away from them.
True.
So rather than you go out, you should bring your customer in to your ring. So make the second ring to the first ring. Make the third ring to second ring and then to first ring. So rather you go out, you bring them in.
How do you bring them in?
You build that relationship. So what I'm saying is that a lot of advisors, so the natural market, once it's done. So I also always tell people, every day, every month, you do only 2 things. One is that you approach client to propose.
Yep.
Second thing is that you want to start building relationship for your future clients. So you cannot build when you no longer have anyone close to you.
Yep.
So a lot of people, they forget the second part. So they will spend lots of time, talking to, proposing clients, but then they don't spend time building their future clients. So when you spend time building your future client, that's when you bring them in closer to you. So the success rate is a lot higher.
Yes.
Rather than you keep going, start meeting strangers.
Yeah.
I think human nature is that, let's say if you have a good March, and then now it's April 20th, and your sales is really slow. What do? You will start rushing your proposal. You will start proposing too early because you feel like that, oh my God, because I don't have any sales. But the problem with you not having sales is actually because you didn't do the work before. You didn't do all the necessary work before. So that's my approach. But at the same time, I know people that's really successful in doing cold calling. So I'm not that kind of animal. I cannot do cold calling. I'm very afraid of cold calling. Like people that do cold calling, I bow down to them. I think that's the most amazing skill to have because basically you have to convince someone in the first 20 seconds of opening your mouth. And that's pressure. But I know people that are extremely good at. So those people have sort of their way of doing things. So I like to do the way that I'm comfortable.
Are there roadshows in Kuching?
Oh, sometimes we do roadshows as well.
Oh, so you do roadshows as well? But you're comfortable with roadshows?
Okay lah.
Okay.
Yeah, not the most comfortable.
Okay.
Because it is going up to a stranger, talking to them. Yeah.
Okay.
So, so it is a skill that you have to practice. But then I realized with roadshow is that I think the first hour is always very awkward. But if you keep trying, then you become really good at it by lunchtime.
Okay. Do you still have to do roadshows right now?
So pre-pandemic, we do roadshow, maybe 4 or 5 roadshows a year, but usually we do it at the hospital. We like to do roadshow at the hospital, our agency. Then during pandemic, of course, we didn't do any of that. So now we are talking about if we can go back to it. Like, I don't think we have done roadshow in the mall before. I know in Singapore, when I go to a lot of the malls, especially in Bugis, I see a lot of people doing roadshow there. So we have not done that. I think with hospital it's different because we feel like the client there sort of either need insurance or have insurance. So they kind of know what is going on. So it's easier to approach them. I don't know, yeah. So usually another colleague of mine, he will handle the roadshow. And then so the team will show up and I'll just show up and support them. Yeah, so once in a while when I get bored, then I'll get a clipboard and I'll get an iPad and start asking people questions as well. So I don't do roadshow as much as I
understand.
Yeah.
You don't have to. Because you have.
But I don't have to. But at the same time, sometimes I feel like I want to. Because I feel like it's a challenge. It's a new skill that I think I should learn. Like it's really funny because every year I'm always worried about where am I going to find my client next year. I always have this fear.
Every single year.
Even until now. Yeah, that was my biggest fear.
But I thought you already have a clientele base.
I do, but then I feel like, oh my God, I need more.
How many clients do you have?
I don't have a lot. About 300 and something.
After 17 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you must have a very deep relationship with most of them.
I do. So I do a lot of repeat sales. So my business, I know that in any given year, if my business volume is a 70-30, 70% from existing client, 30 are new client, then I see that as a very healthy volume. So if it's 80-20, then it's not healthy. That means last year, I didn't do enough to open up new market.
Understand.
So 60-40, 70-30 is like the sweet spot for me.
Understand.
Yeah.
Understand.
So, but I don't know, like sometimes November, December, I'll freaked out for a week. Like, oh my God, like January is going to come around. Where everything go back to zero. Like, where am I going to find clients? Like, like, who am I going to see? So you let yourself freak out a little bit, and then you will calm down. So you'll sit down, and then you'll start taking out a piece of paper or on your phone. Then you start writing names again. So then you go back to ground zero, back to square one, and then do your name list.
And what will you do with the name list?
Oh, so I usually have a so I have a master name list. So everyone that I would meet, I'll just write it down. Like doesn't matter whether I've spoken to you, whether we talk about insurance or not, doesn't really matter. As long as I think that you have a potential to be my client, I'll write it down. Yeah. Even no phone number, also never mind. But usually I will probably bracket and try to remind myself where I meet this person. So that's a master list. So then there's another list of people that you're going to see this month. Or people that you want to build relationships this month. And then people that you want to propose this month. So when you need names to replenish your list, you get it from the master list.
Understand.
So your master list, you constantly have to have new names in your master list.
And you constantly have new names in your master list also because you constantly go out there and build relationships. Is that correct?
Yeah, because when you go to an event, when you see friends, there are always new people. You know what I mean? Yeah. I just feel like if you really, really want, even like the hawker lady that you buy lunch from, she can be your new client. But how come that name never appear on your list? Things like that.
But after 17 years, do you have a certain client that you're looking for?
No.
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 Everyone have access to me. That's how I do business.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like insurance is something that I think, in the last 7-8 years, I really, really, truly believe that insurance is something that everyone should have, no matter how rich you are. You can benefit.
Okay.
So I don't feel that I should be choosing my client.
I understand.
Actually, a lot of advisors ask me to, let's say I should like have sort of, what is that word, segmentize
Okay.
my market and then focus on a particular group of clients. I don't know. I mean, I feel like, a lot of the, not lower income, a lot of, people that make, let's say, 3,000-4,000 ringgit a month, that group of clients, I become friends with them. I can't just really drop them. You know what I mean? And I also find those clients give you the best training. So imagine someone that makes 3,000 ringgit a month, need to give you 400 ringgit. That's more than 10%, So that's where the skill comes in.
I understand.
Someone that make millions, giving you 10,000, nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So someone that make millions, it's about relationship building, and then make sure that your product makes sense to them. It's something that they need. You can close the case fairly easily. But it's trying to get that money, that 300 ringgit, out of that person that makes 3,000 ringgit and maybe has a family, has a few child. That's tough.
Okay.
So I always find that's where the training is.
Understand.
Yeah, it keeps you honest. It keeps you sharp. Yeah, dealing with a customer from that sort of income bracket.
Understand.
Yeah.
Understand. And
So-
you talk a lot about insurance, bro. Like,
Yeah.
do you do accumulation as well for them, or you mainly focus on wealth protection insurance policies?
Almost 90% is wealth protection.
Oh, almost 90% wealth.
Yeah,
protection.
because in Malaysia, most people have not even taken care of their wealth protection part. So I mean, if you look at from a financial planning point of view, the most important part to me is wealth protection. So without taking care of that, how can you move out to accumulation and creation part? So most of my clients, are still at the wealth protection part. So
Okay.
yeah, so I do
Even
mostly.
for the more well-to-do clients.
Yeah, because sometimes when they buy insurance, because they will never, okay, for me, like, so when I do wealth protection, when I sell insurance, critical illness is always 3 times of your annual salary,
Okay.
minimum,
Okay.
3 to 5.
3 to
Okay,
5,
3 to
okay.
5. Life, it all depends. You have to do the calculation to kind of what is your debt and all that, la la la. So, it can be ranging from anything from 5 to 10.
Okay.
Yeah, or even less. So most people actually they don't even, I have a lot of clients that might have hit 3 years of critical illness.
Okay.
But I don't have a lot of clients that hit 5 years of critical illness.
Yep.
3, I have quite a lot, and most of them are below 3. So if you keep telling people that 3 years is the minimum, 5 years is a good number, then you had to constantly help them to close that gap.
Over the years.
Over the years, yeah.
So I can imagine you go back, because you say you do a lot of repeated business. You go
Right.
back and then you tell them, hey, you're at 3, let's move you to 5. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, you can say that, or we'll do a review. So usually I'll do a review first, because sometimes they might have bought from another company.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll do a review, and then I will go through with them, and
What do you do in your reviews? Can you share with us?
Oh, a review is very simple. So a successful review is where you are able to get all the insurance policy, not just from your company.
Okay.
But if you only get it from your company, you only see it from your company, ma.
Yep.
So you want to get it from everyone,
Okay.
so you can do a true review
Okay.
of the insurance portfolio.
Yep.
Then you do a calculation and be like, okay, and then I'll be like, your medical plan is this, and now there is a better one, you should upgrade, or your critical illness. Remember the very first time when we spoke, we said should be minimum 3.
Yep.
But then you only have 2 years of your income, so it's some, then I'll propose him or
Understand.
her.
Okay.
Yeah, and it'd be like, if you want to hit 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, this is the premium that it's going to be.
Understand.
Yeah, but a lot of time when I do review, I will also go back and revisit why do we need insurance. So
Okay.
different client, you do it differently.
Yes.
Yeah. So before you go into the proposal part, always good to review again. Because for sure they forget one.
Yep.
Most of them.
Yep.
Why it is important to have insurance.
Okay.
So you want to do that. Otherwise, you and your client will be at a different wavelength.
Yes.
So
yes,
whatever
yes,
you
yes.
say, no matter how amazing it sounds, right? Even how cheap it is, they will not think it's something that they need.
Understand.
Yeah.
Context, right?
Exactly.
Bring them back.
You have to bring them back, absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
The importance of insurance. And then you walk through with them your recommendation for them, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Then they
Understand.
decide what they want to do with it.
Do you have clients that already has hit the 5 times annual income for critical illness?
Yeah. But
then-
minority.
Minority. Okay, so what do you do with these clients? Like, what's the next step for these clients?
So usually these clients, they have family members that have not hit the 5 times. They might hit the 5 times.
Okay.
So you focus on their family members to make sure that everyone hit the 5 times.
Understand.
Yeah. Then you can
Oh.
talk to them about life insurance. So some of them, they might have a lot of critical illness. They might have sufficient medical, but they might not have enough life insurance. So you can talk about that as well.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that's a typical review for you.
So that's what I usually do. Yeah. because-
300 Actually, if you have 300 clients,
Yeah.
you can spend your whole year reviewing.
I could, but I
Yeah.
don't. Yeah, so I think review once every 2 years is fairly normal.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, I won't do certain client. So certain client that has a huge insurance portfolio, I will do a yearly review because thing changes for them quite often. But most clients, I think if you can do once every 2 years,
Understand.
is sufficient.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Once
So-
every 2 years.
Yeah, if you ask me, I think
Understand.
once every 2 years is quite
Because
good.
things don't change that much, right, in 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know.
Okay.
So once every 2 years, I think is good enough.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And so I can hear from you that you spend the bulk of your time doing two things. One is making recommendations. Second is to build relationships.
Yeah,
right?
when it comes to my insurance work, yes. Yeah. I think this day we are very lucky because of technology.
Yep.
Our clients has already allowed different type of connection to be considered as engagement.
Yep.
Before it's really in the early days, it's really sit down, have a meal, have coffee, have a drink. That's called engagement.
Yep.
But I think these days, our engagement are mixed.
Yep.
It can be, engagement through social media,
Yep.
writing to them through text.
Yes.
Can be a phone call. It can be sit down, meeting them.
A newsletter.
So yeah, so
Yeah.
it's a mixture of,
Yep.
of different things. So the touch point is so much wider now.
Yep.
So I think we are very lucky in that sense. So we are, for example, let's say if today, I write down a list, I must connect with 10 of my clients
Yep.
through WhatsApp, let's say. I can do it simultaneously to 10 people in 1 hour.
Yep.
Rather than, spending 10 hours meeting each of them,
Okay.
1 hour each.
How do you
Yeah.
keep in touch with all of your clients right now? How many touch points do you have and what kind of touch points do you do?
So it depends, certain clients, I see them all the time. We engage on social media,
Okay.
we do WhatsApp.
Yep.
So it's like a full package, like, because
Yeah.
they are like not only your client, but they're also your very close friends.
Yes.
But then there are certain clients, most of them are definitely either I'll make a phone call, I'll meet them in person, or I will do a WhatsApp message. Starting from a simple thing like, how are you doing recently? How are you doing lately? What's going on? Just start from there.
Okay.
Yeah, and have like a conversation. Yeah, just like, texting each other.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I can see the main one will be meeting them and having conversations on WhatsApp.
Yeah,
That's how
yeah,
you keep in
yeah,
touch.
yeah, yeah,
Alright,
yeah.
okay.
Once in a while, if you get one of those like, so I don't do a lot of forward messages unless they're really good. I'm not a serial forwarder. Yeah,
Okay.
and also when it comes to news or when it comes to anything that is more particular, I will actually want to verify the information before I will send it out.
I understand.
I don't just forward.
Yep. Yep.
Because I think if you do too much of that, then it becomes cheap.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Correct.
So let's say if I don't forward a lot of things to you, but also you see I forward something to you, then you'll probably be like, oh, what is this?
Yep. Yep.
If I'm
Yep.
that person that you come to know that will forward 10 things to you every day,
Yeah.
so you will be like, even if I miss 5 of them, it's fine.
Yep,
I will
understand.
only look at it when I have time.
Okay.
And then most of the time you'll forget. But if I don't, then you will take my message more seriously, I think. Yeah.
So, okay, you mentioned that until this point, you still feel that 300 clients are not sufficient as a base and you freaked out sometimes at the end of the year.
Yeah.
What do you usually do after that? The
After
name
freaking
names?
out?
Yeah, after freaking out, after
Oh.
listing out the names, what do you do?
No, I think for me, I think 300 clients is not a huge number, especially I've been in the industry for 17 years.
Yep.
But I think it's also very good because it brings you back to reality and remind you of the things that you need to do if you want to have continuous business.
I understand.
Yeah, because you will get to one point where certain clients you just no longer can sell anymore because you sort of maxed out your quota. Either they're becoming too old, too expensive.
Yep.
Then the question is, have you tapped into people around them? Yeah, so it reminds you to do things like that.
Understand.
And not be complacent. So
Okay.
because I'm the go with the feeling kind of person sometimes. So I tend to get a bit complacent, but the freaking out is actually not a bad thing.
Okay.
It sort of brings you back down to earth and be like, okay, your main bread and butter is still sales.
Yep.
So make sure you do that while you're engaging in all this other activity related to insurance. You love it, you're having fun, like what you say, speaking engagement, my MDRT commitment,
Yep.
with the global leadership and my own non-profit. Those are all fun things that I really enjoy. But at the same time, recognize that because of insurance, you have all these things.
Yep. Yep.
So don't forget about the core business that you need to do.
Understand.
Yeah, the service that you still need to provide to your client, things like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
The foundation.
the
right?
foundation of it,
Yes.
because honestly, everything that I have, all the things that I enjoy at this point in my life, is all from insurance.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all related somehow.
I understand.
Yeah,
It's true.
it is true.
It's true.
Yeah.
So how do you get to your first TOT?
Oh, so it was, I think it was late 2014. My company had an event for MDRT members. I already achieved my 6th MDRT by that time. So when I walked into the event, and it was in Kuala Lumpur, and I'm from Kuching, right? So when I walked into the event, I was just surprised how many people know me. They usually, because I'm not from KL, and then I guess like what you say, it's really hard to miss me, but I'm so tall. So people like talk to me, but I was just like, I'm only a 6-year MDRT member. Why do I get so much recognition from my peers? Then I asked myself, can I be better than MDRT? Can I, propel to something? So after 6 years, I was getting a little bit bored and trying to find meaning of MDRT. So this is before I get involved with MDRT Global Leadership. Yes, I was actually a bit lost at that time. So I was just like, what is the whole point of all this? As you know, as MDRT member, we don't have people lining up outside our office wanting to buy insurance, right? Yeah, so we don't have that.
Yep.
So I'm trying to find what else is there. I mean, is there another meaning to truly become an MDRT member? So that was 2015. That was almost 10 years in the business. So I was like, why don't I give myself a bit of challenge and see what else I can do? Yeah, make it more fun. So I was just like, okay, let's commit, skip COT and go straight to, TOT.
What the hell?
Yeah, I don't know.
Skip COT, go right to TOT.
Actually, I didn't even think about skipping COT. I just said, okay lah, I just put my side. But I feel like people say that you can be, but you never believe you can or you never want to. So then you're like, okay, since so many people say I can be, and these are the people that you actually trust, or some of them I really know well and I trust, maybe they do see something in you that you don't see. So I said, okay lah, try lor. Yeah, so that's when I make a commitment. In 2015, when we did the annual planning, I said, okay, I'll go for my top of the table because I know I have that kind of clients. So I have that kind of clientele, I have that kind of skill, but the big question is, why am I not? So I thought, why not? Let's just do one lah, at least once in a lifetime experience.
When you say you have that kind of clients, what do you mean? Wealthy clients?
Yeah. So I have clients from all walks of life. But then it's about re-tapping into that bunch of wealthy clients, but at the same time, tap into their social circle to find more wealthy clients. Because I think to be a top of the table member, you do need big cases.
I understand.
I mean, you cannot stack, 3,006. Like, how many 3,006 are you going to stack to get there? You know what I mean? Yeah. So you do need those like 6-figure premium cases to help push a little bit.
Correct.
Yeah, so I said, okay, let's just do it.
Okay.
That was 2015, and the funny thing is, I didn't achieve my first MDRT in 2015 until June.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I think that year was also a little bit of luck as well. When people keep asking me, so are you still going to do it? I'm like, yeah, of course I'm going to do it. I was very confident. There's like not a single day when I was in doubt. It was a weird, strange feeling.
Wow.
But I do know my production on a daily basis. But the first thing I would do in the morning, before our morning meeting, I will switch on my computer, I will look at my balance.
Wow. Okay.
But it was never like, oh my God, so far.
It's too far, yeah.
It was never like that. It was like, oh, okay, so that's the balance.
Yeah.
It's just a very matter of fact, that's the balance.
Matter of fact,
and
yes.
so I did my first, June, I qualified for my first MDRT.
Yeah.
And still feeling confident. Don't know why. No idea why I feel confident, but it's just there's this confidence.
Wow.
I was just doing my thing, And September, I finished my first quarter table. So that was already a breakthrough. Never done quarter table, first quarter table by September. I'm like, okay. And
by September?
By September.
Like 3 months?
Yeah.
You cleared two.
Exactly. Yep. And then, so the whole thing is, okay, achieve my top of table by December. But at that time, my company, they like to do a recognition thing in the first week of December for the following year. They want to have a kickoff in December. And I know from previous year, because we have another agent, one of my colleagues, that did top of the table and was recognized at that event. I'm like, oh, how cool would it be recognized? But you're the only one, or you possibly the only one. And I was like, okay, I was like, then I sort of rushed it a little bit. And yeah, I think it was like November, 29th, 30th. That was when I finished my top of the table.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was very lucky, that the 2 times that when I achieved my top of the table, I was the only one in my company.
Wow.
So I would say that, I don't have to share my stage with anybody else but myself, kind of thing. Yeah. So these days, my company have more and more top of the table. Yeah. But back then, it was like rare species, so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, amazing. I like the fact that you mentioned, even though you are looking at the balance, it's just a matter of fact.
Yeah.
But it did not waver you, bro.
No. So
and you don't know why. You don't know why you were so confident.
There was just so much confidence. Like, I don't know where I got it from, but it was just like, yeah. But in my second TOT, I knew that what happened 2 years before that is not going to happen again. That's what I said earlier. I felt that it was a little bit of luck going in as well.
Okay.
So the second one is with a lot more planning. So, well, not a lot more. It's just basically one MDRT every 2 months.
Okay. I want to talk to you about I want to ask you about then the wealthy clients. How differently do the wealthy client function from the regular clients? Like how, I'm sure you cannot do the regular planning style with wealthy clients, right? Like they're more pressed for time, they're more impatient, they talk to you at a higher level. Is that how is it like in Kuching?
No, because most of my wealthy clients are my friends. Eventually, they become my friends.
Okay.
And friend always make time for friends, man.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't find them. So again, the process is the same. Building relationship is the same. Whether that person make 3,000 ringgit a month or make 30 million in a month. So the process is the same because making friends is the same thing. It's about understanding them.
Yep.
It's about get to know them on a personal level.
Yep.
And when someone make less money, their portfolio is easier.
Yep.
When someone make money, a lot of time, it's actually not more complicated, it's just that the number gets bigger.
Okay.
So this person might only have 100,000 protection.
Okay.
That person have 10 million. Still the same, it's still the one policy, but it's just that the needs are different.
Okay.
So in that sense, I do things in I think one of the things that I'm good at, that people appreciate is I simplify matters for my client.
Yep.
I really don't think insurance should be complicated.
Yep.
Yeah, it's about what you need, how it's going to help you when you need it,
Yep.
how much you have to pay, and what do you get at the end of it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a very simple thing.
So you're saying that you talk to the wealthy clients the same way you talk to the regular clients?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just that their numbers are bigger, that's all.
The numbers are bigger, that's all.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And then they might have to buy different policy to protect different asset.
Yep.
But then it's the same.
The concept is the same.
The idea is the same.
Yeah.
You sort of like replicate. Yeah.
But you make them your friends first. That's a key idea.
Even if I cannot be friends, I want to make them friendly first. Yeah, because I don't like awkward moment. I don't like awkward situation. And I don't like rejection. So I want to play the safe game in the sense, let's say, I think after a while in the business, you will know when is the right time to bring out the topic without the person say, go away. So the first battle is how do you get the person to say sure when you tell them, hey, my company had a new product, I think you will like it. Next time when I see you, I'll show it to you. Let's say if that's a casual conversation you have, how do you get that person to say yes? If it's friends, for sure they will say sure.
Okay.
That's when your reputation becomes very important. So if you are known in town as one of those advisor, one of those agents that forces people to buy, that apply pressure, then people would run away from you. But if your reputation is that, Thian Lung is great, he'll propose, don't buy also, never mind. If that's your reputation, that's how people perceive you, then the likelihood of people saying yes to you, presenting to them is a lot higher.
And Kuching is not a big town.
Kuching is getting, it's one of those like awkward size. It's not huge, it's not small.
How many people?
750,000, I think.
750,000.
Yeah, roughly there.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel less pressure as well. So everything is through a very simple conversation. Yeah.
So you spend time to network and get to know people, get into the social circles of these people, and then you just make friends lah.
Just make friends, get to know them, and then be curious about their lives. Because you know how people always talk about active listening, listening skill.
Yep.
So I always feel that to be a good listener, you must be always curious. Because for example, let's say if, what are some of your hobbies?
Reading, running.
Like what kind of running? Just jogging or like any particular running?
Oh, just jogging.
Just jogging.
Just jogging, yes.
Okay. Would you say that you're passionate about jogging?
No, I don't think I'm passionate about
Okay, what are
jogging.
some
I'm
of your-
passionate about reading. Yeah, I like to read.
Okay, you like to read. So let's say, today, if I'm your prospect and I so happen to read a lot, you'll be very curious about what is my process, why I read the same kind of books, because we have the same interest.
Yep.
But what if I'm not that kind of person? I don't read. So how are you going to find interest in me and in the things that I like?
Understand.
So that's why in order to be good at listening, you have to be able to be constantly curious.
Understand.
So a lot of advisors are not curious enough.
But is that in their blood? Is it something that you can train?
Yeah, you can.
You can?
Yeah, so the other day when in my agency, I did an example, right? So one of my colleagues used to be a trainer at the gym. So I was making a example with him. Just pretend you are that trainer.
Yeah.
I'll be like, oh, Jiale, I'm such a big guy, right? But my arm very small. Not nice, lah. I want to make my arm bigger so that I look more balanced. But I don't like to go to the gym. Teach me something that I can do at home, that I can build my arm. Then you'll probably show me exercises. 1, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4. So let's say if I'm not curious, you show me 1. I'm like, oh, okay, any more? You show me 2. I'm like, oh, another 1? Show me 3. Oh, got more? 4. Like that. Yes, I did my job. I asked about your interest.
Yeah.
I did it. But if I truly am curious, I'll be like, wait, hold on. That exercise, what does that target specifically? Why is your arm like that and not like that? Where are my legs supposed to be when you do this? So you see, so you are really engaging him not only on the surface, but really deep down into things that this person actually like.
Understand.
Yeah, same thing, let's say if today you're a avid car lovers, and then it'll be like, oh, so what are the best sports car? You're like, oh, okay, Audi, let's say. Okay, which one? Then you go back to your manager and be like, yeah, I did, Jiale loves car. and I talked to him about car.
Yep.
But then it was only on the surface. You never sort of go in. Like, you should be curious. Even if you don't like cars, then you should be curious about why does the person love cars so much? Because I don't care about cars.
Okay.
For me, car is something that just move. But then sometimes I get very curious, like, why does a person, especially when people talk about F1,
Yeah.
I was like, why? So I always want to find out why. Why are people so passionate about cars?
Understand.
And then they'll tell you, oh my God, you don't understand this, that, and you'd be like, oh, then that's when you learn there's actually so much knowledge that goes into a car.
Yep.
Then you acquire that knowledge and they become part of you.
Yes.
Yeah, so next
Yes.
time when you talk to another person that loves car, you'll be like, oh, my friend told me, la 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 la, you exchange information. So it makes you more well-versed, it makes it more interesting.
Understand.
Yeah, so a lot of people I find a lot of people are not curious. So the way to do it is to apply that curiosity onto everything that you do in life. I think that's very important.
I think when you talk about this, apply curiosity to understand them deeper,
Right.
better. You can relate better to their world.
Yes, you
right?
have
and
to.
They will feel more hurt and they will feel like, oh, I think you know me.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
Right?
Yep.
You're curious enough to know about what I like, what I don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you, like what I say, you acquire that knowledge and you can go to the next client and talk about it.
Yes. So it's about deep diving into your client's life.
Okay.
Not only just do it on the surface. So a lot of times when advisors come back and be like, they went out, have coffee with their clients, but then you realize, how come they can never penetrate that particular segment or that particular client? Then if you truly go and sit down and listen to their conversation, then you realize there's a lot of mistake that they make. Yeah, a lot of time the conversation is very surface.
Understand.
They might see them 100 times, but it's all that kind of conversation.
Okay.
There's no depth to it. There's no connection.
I think that's a common thing in our industry.
Yeah, because that conversation they have with you as an advisor, they can have it with another 100 people.
Yeah.
So what makes you... It's not a matter of how many times you see them, but it's how many times you actually see them and connect with them. I think that's the most important part, the connection.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
that's the part that people are missing, I think.
And you can only connect to them when you are curious.
I think so, yeah.
And that's where you deep dive into asking about
Yeah,
their lives, right?
yeah,
And that's
yeah.
where you connect. Okay.
I think so. I mean, you're very lucky if you find clients that have the same interest with you.
Yep.
But then sometimes you don't.
Yep.
So that's another thing. Have multiple interests, not just have one interest. Have different interests so that
Yep.
you are willing to learn, you are excited to learn about information, about things that might make you a better person in that sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you ask to go into the family and plan for the other family members? Let's say you have done the planning very well with this client and you realize that the other family members don't have five times.
Like maybe the siblings or
Yes.
their wife or the
Their
husband and
circle.
children.
Yeah.
So I don't really ask for referral. I basically just ask them to create opportunity for me to get to know people that in their life.
How?
Dinner is a good way.
Okay.
Or a lot of my clients are very good. They know I'm constantly looking for new clients. So when they have events that they can invite me to attend, they'll invite me. Yeah, so they do not have to say that, oh, this is my insurance advisor, buy from him. They don't need to say things like that. But they know that the moment I'm in there, they trust me to be able to connect with people that I don't know.
Okay.
So that's where you had to do your job to make sure that you connect with all the strangers that are in the room, so
Okay.
to speak. Yeah. So in that kind of arrangement, your client is also very comfortable. They don't feel like they are pushing this onto their friends.
Correct.
But then you also feel very comfortable.
Yep.
Because you are getting to know so many new people. Yeah. So it's about how you take over that environment when you are in it.
Then how do you usually introduce yourself in such an event?
Oh,
Like, hi, I'm Thian Lung and
Yes, so it all depends. Sometimes the client will already say something. Sometimes the client will be like, oh, this is Thian Lung. Or sometimes they'll say, oh, this is Thian Lung, my insurance agent. So when they say that, easier lor. When I didn't say, it's your usual conversation. When you sit down with someone, you say, oh, hi, my name is Thian Lung, what's your name? Or your name is Nicholas, okay, la 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 la. So how do you know Benjamin? Then he tell you how he know Benjamin, you tell him how you know Benjamin. Then it's like, then you move on to a different topic. Oh, what do you do? You ask him what do you do, he asks you what you do. So you just tell them what you do. So every single question that you throw, you are testing your client.
Yep.
So be very bold with the way you ask question and giving the answer. So for example, right, if you ask me what I do, I say, oh, I'm an insurance advisor. And then there's only a few reactions. Some people be like, oh, okay. They say, which company are you with? They're, oh, I'm with this company. And they're like, oh, my sister is with that company. I'm like, oh. So some people are more willing to engage in the conversation.
Yep.
And some people will just go, be very quiet.
Yeah.
And then lor. So that you know how far this person is willing to go with that topic. Yeah.
It's like a litmus test. You also know, right?
Yeah. So you're constantly testing your client. So everything that you ask, you're testing your client. For example, let's say someone that might have started a conversation about insurance, you still want to test them because they might not want to continue. So for example, you say, oh, you ask me, oh, what company are you from? Oh, I'm from this company. Then I'll be like, oh, do you have a lot of insurance? And then you'll be like, no lah, not really lah. Then I'll be like, what kind of insurance do you have? They say, I don't know. Or then if someone says, I don't know, most of the time they are willing to engage in the conversation. And sometimes I'll be like, oh, who's your advisor? I might know this person. Oh, you won't know one, you won't know one. So sometimes they might not even have insurance, but they tell you that they do.
Ah.
So every single question that you ask, you're actually testing them and see how far you can go with that topic. So the moment you feel like you're hitting a wall, just pull back and be cool about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and I mean, well, we're down to the last 5 minutes or so. I want to really ask you, time flies here, bro.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, when you plan for wealthy clients, do you usually use universal life policies?
We don't have universal life policy
We
in
don't have
Malaysia.
universal life
No.
policies?
No.
Okay, so they are term insurance and
So we
they are
use
whole life policies.
Malaysia now these days is mostly investment linked product. Yeah.
Understand.
But I do have clients that come to Singapore and sign up for a universal life product.
Understand.
Yeah, to me it's all for it. I'm like, go. Yeah, I'm like, do it. Because
Okay.
I think it's great.
Okay.
Yeah, especially for the wealthy clients.
Yep.
They are the people in that income group that has sort of the exposure and the opportunity to be signed up with that kind of insurance. Why not? Yes, but many of them, sometimes they'll get through a bank, they will get through either an agent or not, but they always want me to come with them and make sure that I understand fully what is going on.
Understand.
Yeah, so even though I'm not the servicing agent, but at least I know enough information to go back and then, because they'll always have questions.
Yep.
Sometimes they will ask the agent in Singapore, in Hong Kong, but sometimes they'll ask me.
Yep.
Then I need to make sure I remember what was the insurance about. But usually universal life insurance is very simple. It's not complicated. It's whether you have the kind of money to buy or not.
Understand.
Whether you have the needs is always there. Why not?
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are the needs of wealthy individuals?
It's about legacy. It's about giving the next generation more and more money, isn't it? Yeah, so that's one of the, it's about taking care.
Even for younger wealthy people, like in their 30s, would they already be thinking about legacy or they'll be thinking about something else?
Well, even if they don't want to think about legacy, you should tell them about legacy. If you're like, look at your parents, they only start their legacy planning when they're 50s. One is like 30s. For me, it's really funny that you mentioned it because a mentee of mine, someone in my study group recently brought up this topic about a young businessman doing very well, doesn't have any insurance. Then the question is, how do you trigger that conversation?
Yep.
So most of the time, again, going back to relationship, you need to be sort of friendly with them for them to want to even have that conversation with you. Then you start from the very basic as to why insurance is needed, why insurance is important. From there, you build up to what insurance can bring for them.
Okay.
So if they are wealthy, they are younger, I focus a lot more on critical illness.
Okay.
Usually people in the 30s, most of them will already start to have, getting married and all that.
Yep.
Yeah, so this is sort of like the natural progression of life for many people. Then you talk about, not only leaving legacy for their children, but leaving legacy for the other half, to take care of the other half. To take care of their parents, to give something to the parents. Yeah. So that's an important thing that you can talk to a client
So
about.
wealthy individuals, they think about legacy a lot, you're saying?
They definitely do.
Because they have more than enough, is that correct? So they can afford to think about passing down their wealth to the next gen.
Because they have a lot to give when they are no longer around. People that are wealthy, eventually when you get to a certain age, you're like, let's say they are businessmen. This business that I built, who am I going to give it to? What am I going to do with it? Is my children going to take over? Am I going to sell it for profit? So they're constantly thinking about moving on. So giving the next generation a large amount of money should be part of the planning as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Imagine you are able to give, let's say your 35-year-old daughter, 10 million US dollars to start her own business in the event when you're not around. Why not? Especially if you are able to afford it. Yeah, it's that kind of legacy planning.
Understand.
Some people are so well off that they are planning to a third generation, even fourth generation already. It's the same idea, but they are actually moving it down already. So some people plan for the second generation, some already doing their third generation. People in their 60s might already have grandchildren.
Yep.
Yeah, they're already planning for their grandchildren. Yeah, so regardless what is going to happen to their children, they might be that bit useless, but they know their grandchildren will be taken care of.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you usually start the legacy questions, like the topic of legacy?
So sometimes you can talk about wills. I don't do wills, but I'll be like, have you written a will? Then again, you'll be curious about it. So again, in order for your client to open up to you, they must be comfortable with you. Then you talk about what they are leaving behind.
Yep.
Or sometimes you can talk about what does their legacy, because I'm 47 and I am thinking about my legacy in a sense, when I'm no longer around, especially in the industry. How do I want to be remembered in the industry if I'm, for the people that are still around?
I understand.
So that's part of the legacy thinking. So you can ask them, have that heart-to-heart conversation, like, what do you want to leave behind?
Yep.
When you're no longer around, how do you want to be remembered? What would you like to leave for your next generation?
I understand.
So have that deep conversation with them. Most of them, in their 40s, 50s, they would have already thought about it. Yeah, so they might not have put it into action, but it's already something that they are thinking.
Understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
So
thank you so much, bro, for your time.
You're very welcome.
Well, we're just on time. Thian Lung is gonna run over to the airport right now for his 7:30 flight to San Francisco. He's gonna be responsible and in charge of how well the MDRT annual meeting will turn out this year. So we're gonna wish you best of luck, bro. Thank you for chairing the MDRT event, and thank you for spending your time here with me again. Once again, I'm very appreciative that you said yes to me going to Kuching and being so hospitable and bringing me around, paying for everything.
No problem at all. No, it's fun. Yeah. So when the way this guy do interview, there's no questions, okay? There's no prepping. So I asked him like, what, can I prep? It's like, no need to prep. I was like, okay, if you say so.
Like that casual ma, like that friend to friend ma.
Right.
Yeah.
So if the content is not good, it's his fault.
Hey, one. Okay. Hey guys, this is the end of the Advisor Show. So I will see you in the next episode. See you.
Bye.